Hello, everyone. Greetings on a Friday night. Why am I recording this lecture so late in the week? It wasn't until Friday I got the final midterm turned in and I've had time to grade it. So now they're done, but never, since this is your first midterm, I accepted late ones, okay? But when you turn in a midterm late, remember, not only is your grade marked off by well, let's say if you turn in your midterm late and you got to see how many days late you turn it in, it goes per day, it will go down to C minus. Next day it goes into D territory. Then I'm not even sure how farther down it goes there. So yeah, don't turn them late because not only is it going to hurt your grade, it prevented me from recording the final part of this lecture until Friday night. Now that they're all turned in, let me go over the midterms so you can be better prepared for the next one. Remember the midterm 2, there is a second midterm. It will be the exact same format as the first one. So what I'm going to do, I will upload a couple. There was, like I said, a lot of perfect scores. And what I'm going to do is upload those perfect scores, because those scores set the standard from which I then corrected the other exams. Okay, in other words, those were the best examples of the students who followed the directions, who followed the study guide I gave them, and who had the kind of best analytical answers. So let's go to, I'll take one example from Mr. Ruben Martinez. And if you got 100 and don't see your example here, just don't worry. These were the last 2 that were open. You all did good for those of you who got perfect scores. Okay, so here you have a secondary source, otherwise known as a newspaper article. And then you're asked, what are the manifestation of pre-modernity and modernity? So the article subject, the main concept itself, the belly dance, is a pre-modern practice. It's been practiced since as far back as we know, ancient Egypt. To say that is what makes it pre-modern, that was done a long time ago, that's not the correct answer. The correct answer I'd be looking for would be, and keep in mind, because on the second midterm, you're going to have to write how is it pre-modern. And simply, this was a folk dance done before the age of mass. Now, those who are taking part in Oriental dance, obtaining a governmental permit is a manifestation in modernity. Good point, as in the pre-modern. There is no modern government ensuring the masses of belly dancers have a government permit to do so. Democracy, and that's why I included it. Always, everything I include there is part of the answer, has a promise of mass equality for every citizen, including the belly dancer. So even though I didn't specifically ask what makes a modern, Mr. Martinez gave me the answer as well, so making me confident he really knows the subject. Okay. Now this one, okay, when it's 10 points, look about kind of in terms of the length you want to write, all right? 10 points, like I said, maybe a good 3 strong sentences, 4 sentences. You should get all the points, right? Now look what I said, the agents who are doing the patriarchy. A lot of you put societal patriarchy, okay? And I want you to think, are those individuals who use the curse, son of a belly dancer, as powerful as religious authorities? No. So the answer was patriarchy of the state and religious patriarchy. So look at Mr. Martinez's answer. The most dominant is patriarchy of the state. Because at the end of the day, the state can punish a woman with 50 lashes, okay? That is denying a woman either if she wants to dance because she enjoys it, or it's her livelihood. The state is getting in the way. And it's a level that continues from Muhammad Ali's time all the way to the morality police in the present. Okay, so that's a perfect answer. Although the article expresses linguistic patriarchy, so he acknowledges religious patriarchy is more prominent. And there he gives a perfect example. Okay, so that would be, yeah, 3 strong points. I was really expecting 2 for 5 points, but if you could do that, if you want, keep on writing, hedge your bets in the future. So then we had 2 primary documents, and see the pattern in which I chose them, because this is something I'll try to do on the second midterm with the primary sources and on the final. 2 documents that have some kind of relationship with each other, and both the primary sources were produced by female travelers to the Middle East. And look what difference time makes. When the Ottoman Empire was a superpower, and then when by 1865, part of the Ottoman Empire, Egypt, was more or less being taken away from the Ottoman Empire and put under European control. Okay. Now, very good. Who are the women? Although not explicitly stated, I believe the wife is Hurrem. Okay, a very impressive investigative work you did. The second document, written by Lucy Duff Gordon, she focused on the dancer named Latifa. Latifa, actually, I want to just check something. This is so funny. Okay, here you want to know something about Arabic culture. I mean, we don't know if she's ugly, clumsy looking wench, quote unquote. Latifa means the very beautiful one. And there's this thing in Arabic that if you are born and your parents name you very beautiful, you'll tend up to grow up very fugly. This is something we say in the Middle East, although we don't use the word fugly in the Middle East. If you name somebody Kareem, meaning generous, he will be the most stingy person on earth. If you name somebody Murtada, the one who pleases, he will displease everyone. My dad's name Murtada. Okay, so you see, there's this thing in the Middle East. When you go so far as parents to assume your child will be this, and you name your child Latifa, cute or beautiful, usually they grow up to be the opposite. Anyway, so very good. The historical context. The Ottoman Empire reaching its peak. Italy was not a state, but a premier maritime entity. Showing the 2 parties their desire to trade, diplomatic relations, perfect historical context. Lady Gordon, composed when the British held influence over Egypt, had not yet invaded. She was there because of the plague of its time, tuberculosis. And this showcases the theme of Orientalism and the Western gaze. Good answer in terms of the document. Why are these significant for world history? If you give me 2 strong sentences, that's enough. Sometimes you might want to write 3, 4, even 5. Just make sure, because your answers are, really give me, the historical context. And I see it in Mr. Martinez's previous answers. Okay. And so very good. Both give a rise of Orientalism, the Western gaze. The letter of the Genoese woman shows the fascination other powers had for Ottomans and their women. Remember all these paintings? Very good. You see that? Remember all these paintings of Hurrem that weren't actually of Hurrem, but how Italians and Europeans imagined her to look like? Okay. What is pre-modern and what is modern? Female slaves, dancers, the harem. Those are pre-modern institutions. Very good. Or people, yeah. The second document has modern and pre-modern. human societies enter the condition of mass. The letter is mass produced for mass consumption in the form of a book. Another answer I would have expected, the letter had to be mailed to England. That's mass transportation. It's not mass communication, but mass transportation. The dance serpent of the Old Nile is pre-modern, dating back to ancient Egypt. Okay, very good. And then what levels two of patriarchy? Right there. Okay. You could say cultural, societal, or patriarchy of the state. The fact that there is a harem in the Ottoman Empire. You see, you have to read between the lines to get that. Okay. What about Gordon? Narrative linguistic. Describes Latifa as a wench. Cultural patriarchy, how women communicate patriarchal values, improper, and then so on and so forth. Okay, and then let's see how he answered the images. So mentioning its relationship to France and Orientalism. Mentioning the artist. Then with the second one, mentioning the narrative of the white man's burden. That is the white man's duty to save Arab women from Arab men, all of that be good. Paintings are pre-modern. You don't mass produce paintings. But the popularity is an example of the mass production of culture. In other words, even though you can't mass produce paintings, you keep on producing them because there's masses who have disposable income to afford them. And look how he answers this. How the objects rarely have, the paintings rarely have modern objects to them. It's up to the Europeans to bring modernity to these pre-modern people. Then he mentions African slave, the rugs, women at leisure. And then what levels of patriarchy? Patriarchy of the market. Societal patriarchy. Very good. So let me, I'm just gonna pause for a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on Cougar courses right underneath in the first section where the midterm study guide was. I'm going to put an example of some of the best midterms so you can see how they answered, okay, to get an idea of what's expected for the second midterm. But now let's finally conclude. So it was just that 10 minutes that to explain the midterm to you guys that I needed to delay this lecture. Nonetheless, let us finish off our lecture on Orientalism post-World War II. And come on now. We were looking at the case of Aladdin. Now, the video I showed in the beginning dealt what was Orientalist with Aladdin. Here's just, if you get the humor, this was right around the travel ban that was imposed around 2016. Now, what makes this Orientalist? As it was said in the beginning, the kind of reductionist approach, the description of it as barbaric, you get it, the pre-modern, here you have the stock elements, references to the caravan, camels, the desert, the heat, and we assume they're cutting off your face with scimitars. I just wanted to share, I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but what the heck. I remember when Aladdin, the Disney version, came out when I was a kid. Those are the original lyrics. And to talk about something going viral before there was the internet, this was the naughty version we used to sing in school. And I really thought it was just something I sung on my playground. But then when I was Googling Orientalism and Aladdin, this came up. Go ahead and you could read that. And apparently, I thought this was, yeah, just on my playground, but no, this was an example of viral memes before there was the internet. Why do I talk about this? Because remember the hoochie coochie dance? Now, I'm not sure if kids in your generation sang that, but our kids in our generation also used to sing the hoochie coochie dance. There's a place in France where the naked ladies dance. So we would sing that song and this song. And that was me spreading Orientalism as a child because I had no idea what Orientalism was. And this was just the naughty songs we used to sing on the playground. This was in California, not back in Iraq. No kid could understand me if I sang these songs in Iraq. Anywho, all right. Okay, now let's look at Orientalism. Just let me make sure the sound is on. Hopefully the sound will be on. Orientalism in the Latin, in the kind of telenovela Latinx context. Okay. El Clone was produced in Brazil, but then of course, took on a life of its own. Not only now, you got to see, it was produced for the Telemundo, a hugely popular telenovela, but this was the interesting thing. It became hugely popular in the Middle East. It was dubbed in the Arabic for Middle Eastern audiences. So in other words, it's not like Middle Easterners sit and say, this is Orientalist, I can't watch this. No, it was just, they're not even cognizant a lot of times of what is Orientalism. And sometimes we just like a good story. So here is, I'll just play the opening for you.
Telemundo presenta.
So let's... Why'd you stop? Ah, the veiled woman. Oh, that's Sandra Echevarria. Maybe it's Brazilian. The belly dancer, the desert. That's pretty good. I gotta give her that. Again, just useless, wearing a veil, but then being flat at the same time. And then this kind of notion of being two worlds. Okay, here is when El Clone came for in English language. That's how popular it was. Look at the description of the story.
In the beginning, God created man. But man chose to play God. And what was once science fiction,
and so part of the story has to deal with an actual clone.
Is now
an Oriental clone.
A reality. Telemundo and Global unite their talent to bring to the screen the most ambitious novella ever. In the retelling of a story treasured in more than 90 countries.
Yeah, 90 countries.
Shot on location and in an impressive cinematic city. An epic production for a romance that brings together two cultures as fascinating as they are different. Where passion will tear the veil from everything taboo.
Passion will tear the veil from everything taboo? I mean, can you get more cheesier than that? That's cheesy Orientalism. Cheeto Orientalism.
in the story that broke all the rules.
And there, look at the man's gaze now.
Where revealing
Horny
a
man,
woman's
we've seen him
face
many times.
is a mortal sin.
Of course, she's the one who gets slapped. Not the man.
Sandra Echeverria and Mauricio Achman. Love lives again. El Clon.
Okay. Did you notice Telemundo is owned by NBC? And they're the current owners. Sony used to own Telemundo. It's never really had a Latino or owner, I think, in its recent past. Okay. The thing about Orientalism is you have to understand it goes beyond the Middle East, despite its term, the Orient. It is, I mean, here you have Orientalism in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, which I think is bought by mainly people who really don't care about buying swimsuits. Okay. But there you go, where you have kind of these native peoples, Eastern African cultures that are merely props. They're just backgrounds for what are normally, these white women selling, I guess you could call it patriarchy of the market, in that it's not the men buying the swimsuits, but the magazine. Yeah. Now, what makes this Orientalism? Look at this article by Jezebel.com. It's kind of inverting the Orientalist formula. Now the white person is the lazy, indolent person, right? So what does this have? I mean, it invokes stereotypes, colonialism, using exotic people, the narrative that anything non-Western is quaint, backward, and impoverished, or in other words, pre-modern. So here you have Africa as pre-modern, from Morocco to Egypt to Nigeria. No one African country is like another, but it all gets orientalized into a single continent. And so when she talks about the whites' obsession and fetishization with the savages, that's Orientalism. There it goes. That's the essence of it. Okay, how about Orientalism in the following? Let's see what Mr. Colbert tells us in the following. Let me shut off my video. Okay. This is an example of modern digital Orientalism, when the stereotypes can be spread. So digitalism is kind of a modern phenomenon where you can communicate in the age of the easy edit. Okay. What do I mean by communicating in the age of the easy edit? When you're on the phone, that's modern communication, right? Can you, let's say, if you say something bad, okay, let's say if I'm having a conversation with my girlfriend and she says, can you surprise me with dinner tonight? And I was like, okay, what do you want? And she goes, oh, I don't know, you choose, just surprise me. And what if I said, oh, the surprise is I'm gonna break up with you? Can I take that back easily? No. Okay. But modern thing, okay, probably she'll hang up the phone in my ear and I go, ding. Okay, that's fine. In the pre-modern form of communication, if I said that to her, what would I probably get? A very good slap, well-deserved slap. Again, I can't take that back easily. What if I was writing that? And by the way, that dialogue, that's not me. I'm taking this from a very funny clip that I'm just choosing not to show you. if we're talking on Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger or WhatsApp, I could write the surprises I'm going to leave you and then delete that and just say, I'm going to surprise you with food from 4 different restaurants. Okay, that's what I mean by the age of the easy edit, right? So let's see here, conflating an Indian American, okay, with an Arab. There we go. So this is what we're seeing, digital Orientalism. I swear I'm not racist, but this is America. Asian or Indian. Okay, this is America, not India. And look at Savannah Dale. Miss New York is an Indian. With all due respect, this is America. And yeah, how do we know this is America? Look at the way she spelled do. You still haven't got it, it's D-U-E. 9/11 was 4 days ago and she gets Miss America. In other words, again, that's Orientalist in a sense. Conflating somebody from India with the 19 Arab Muslims responsible for the 9/11 attack. Of course, it's racist, okay, but it's a particular form of racism. Nice slap in the face to the people of 9/11. Miss America, have we forgotten 9/11? Okay. Miss America or Miss Al-Qaeda? And you can see. And then again, calling her just Miss 7-Eleven, using the Apu trope from Simpsons, is again just another example of Orientalism. It's not conflating her with the race of people who are Arabs. It is still Orientalist, though, when you essentialize any Indian American as, well, there you go, 7-Eleven. All right. And of course, this was the meme of or kind of the images used in Twitter of the other person who lost. And thus, what happens? Here we have now something that is just essentially patriarchal, not necessarily Orientalist, where you have the masses fighting over 2 women in a beauty pageant saying these women are the avatars of what it means to be really American. The beauty pageant, it might as well be a booty pageant. The beauty pageant is the setting in Chicago, okay, where women were protesting its demeaning and patriarchal measure. And during the protests, okay, the intention was to burn a group of bras. That was the intention. The fire marshal did not allow it, okay? And the women protesters abided by the law. But how did the mass media report on those female protesters protesting the Miss America pageant of, I believe it was 1968? Crazy feminist bra burners interrupt Miss America pageant. Now, do you see, because of that mistake the media made, that never really actually happened. But from that point onwards, how did women then start to protest patriarchy? They did, in fact, started to burn bras. And that's how the bra burning means of protest began, okay? It was actually based on a myth perpetuated by the mainstream media. Now, look at this article written by Muslim American women about this Miss America pageant, okay, where she's saying that for a Muslim American, particularly a Muslim American woman, 9/11 was a temporal juncture. Life was pre-9/11 and post-9/11. And here's another example of kind of Orientalism. People of the Sikh faith, who happen to wear a turban, so this kind of obvious visible marker that they are different, were also targeted by racists, assuming that these were Muslims. When Muslim women's hijabs were turned off, every time there's a national tragedy, Americans are holding their breaths. Now, let's go to the pop diva Orientalist, Paris Hilton. dressing in Oriental fashion to open up her new shop in the shopping mall of Mecca. Now, we've learned the history of Mecca, the birthplace of Islam, is also a place where after you go for your religious pilgrimage, you could buy a Paris Hilton bag, if I'm not mistaken. Now, look at this Twitter response. Other pop icons. Lady Gaga comes out with a song called Burka. Okay, I would play the video, but I swear it would give some of you a stroke. Okay, make sure everything is in order before you watch this, because there's flashing lights and I can't even watch it. Of course, Lady Gaga Orientalizing. Aura is not the word, it's not aura misspelled, okay? Aura is another Arabic word for that which is not permitted for men to see. These are some of the lyrics. You can watch this on your own, but again, you have that same tendency, this kind of utter nonsense of kind of having the veil, but then scantily clad women. The song by Fuego would be an example of Orientalism. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna watch Cardi B's video, and we're gonna analyze what is Orientalist. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the show Beavis and Butthead, but I am Beavis, I won't call myself Butthead, and so I'll be annoying. The whole point is not to show you the video. You can watch it on your own. But look at I'm gonna be Beavis and just making comments during the video. Look at all the shishas, and that was what, how many views? 514 million views. I took this screenshot 2 years ago. God knows how many it is. So let us watch. Just make sure. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So here we open up Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. So there we go, opening up in the desert, the camels, veiled, the wild exotic animal. Bitch, you can fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red. Now, a woman using the word bitch, this is complicated. That's not necessarily in and of itself patriarchal, okay? And it's a long, convoluted issue, but that not out of the way, that's not necessarily patriarchy. I'm showing this just for the sake of showing, teaching you what Orientalism is. Bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the school, I can get them both. I don't wanna choose, and I'm quick. Cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money move. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means now there's a lot of patriarchy kind of fed in the lyrics. I'll keep that out of it. I just want to focus on what's the Orientalist element. Look at the scimitar. Just to party, I'm there, I get paid a fee. I be in and out them banks so much, I know they tired of me. Honestly, don't give a fuck about who ain't fine. The shisha, the exotic smoking element. Working as hard as me. I don't bother with these hoes. Don't let these hoes bother me. They see pictures, they say ghosts. Bitch, I'm who they tryna be. Look, I might just chill in some babe. I might just chill with your boo. I might just spill on your babe. My pussy feel like a lake. He wanna swim with his face. I'm like, okay. I let him get what he want. He buy me East. So even we have the kind of that sultanistic figure in the back watches. almost harkening to those
Oriental
Orientalism.
Got a bag and fix my teeth. Hope you hoes know it ain't cheap. And I pay my mama bills. I ain't got no time to chill. Think these hoes be mad at me. They baby father run a bill. Say, little bitch, you can fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the school, I can get them both. I don't wanna choose. And I'm quick, cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money moves. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch, I make bloody moves. If you a pussy, you get popped. You a goofy, you a op. Don't you come around my way, you can't hang around my block. And I just check my account, turns out I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. I put my hand above my hip, I bet you dip, he dip, she dip. I say, I get the money and go.
So that's it. And it more or less continues in the same vein. Okay. Now, like that video in the beginning of our 2-week series on Orientalism, there's nothing in the lyrics that give away anything that kind of situates her song in the Middle East. In other words, we're not sure who was the creative person behind the video. Was it a director? Was it the artist herself? But nonetheless, that this video can choose on kind of a fixed set of symbols to indicate that I am in the exotic, erotic Orient. So we go from the paintings to now, what is this? Well, this is just modern Orientalism. Let's look at this video. What's Orientalism about it? Or what does it have to do with patriarchy? Let's just watch it. Okay. Oh, shoot. Now, this is the question that that video introduces. Is all Orientalism malign? Because you see here, once we're getting to the present, okay, do Key and Peele really think of them, are they kind of active participants in the American project to dominate the Middle East? And this is now the debate of Orientalism. Is it all necessarily malign? Is it all embedded in kind of imperialism, colonization, or in the American case, kind of a neo-imperial drive to project power in the region? And it depends. It depends. What I'm going to show you now is, starting with Key and Peele, we could look at what elements of Orientalism are more or less benign, and then we'll go on a continuum to what is malign. Okay, so let's look at the following. And this, I would argue, is just highlight the elements that demonstrate that this is Orientalism, and also ask yourself, benign or malign? Well, I gave you the answer. It's benign. It's not. It's hard to see where it has kind of something negative in purpose or racist in purpose. Okay.
Constantinople just liked it better that way. So take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. Istanbul. Istanbul, even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. Istanbul is Constantinople, now it's Istanbul. And Constantinople, been a long time gone. And Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. So take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul.
Okay, so what did we have there? The ubiquitous belly dancer.
Look at what God has given us. This kingdom, a son,
Sorry, guys, hold on.
and each other. So few ever know this happiness.
Spanish.
We are strong. It is strength enough.
This is popular struggle. And I would want to watch.
England is at war.
I shall captain the forces into France.
It's a mistake for you to lead, Your Grace. England will be exposed.
I will fight.
Sorry, guys. This class brought to you by HBO. That's the future, guys. Okay. What about the following? Benign or malign, Kendall Jenner rocked a bedazzled niqab. And now niqab, that's the proper term for the veil that only leaves the eyes exposed. Is this Orientalism, appropriation of foreign cultures, or just kind of genuine respect for the local traditions when you go into a mosque? I let you decide. But what about her friend? Gigi Hadid, who is, after all, her father is Palestinian. Okay, in other words, she would be, in theory, quote unquote, in other words, can a Middle Eastern woman or a half even Middle Eastern woman, is that appropriation or an embrace of her culture? Then we go to somewhat of the more malign. Watch the following. Okay. And like I said, okay, it's Orientalist, but then I even like South Park. Or not South Park, Family Guy. I like South Park too. I mean, the old episodes. Now it's just junk. Anyhow, watch the fall. Okay.
Wow, this
Look at the
place is
elements.
really cool, Mahmoud. It's like
Smoking.
ear-bloodening sounds had sex with nose-bloodening smells, and this is their baby.
I am glad you are enjoying yourself. Would you like some of my meat fushnush? It's a chicken that has been yelled at for 2 hours and then run over by a Mercedes.
Oh, you can really taste the fear in the chicken.
You know, Peter, a lot of people are not as accepting of Muslim culture as you are.
Well, I think everything about it is the best. Like this hookah. I mean, who doesn't want to sit around a table with a bunch of guys and suck on the same thing? It's like smoking my grandfather's jacket. Man, I wish I could stay here all night, Mahmoud. But I'm supposed to pick up the dry cleaner before it closes. I killed a mouse with my tie.
Nonsense. I'll have my wife pick it up for you.
What? She'd do that?
Oh, absolutely. I need you to run an errand for my friend Peter.
Of course. Anything for you, husband.
That was amazing. She just listened to everything you said.
Of course she listened. In Muslim culture, wives are much more obedient.
No way, that's awesome. So wait, let me get this straight. Sweet hat, obedient wife, and I get to shout, Admiral Akbar! When I do stuff, you, sir, have got yourself a Muslim.
Peter, where are you going and why are you dressed like that?
Well, Lois, I happen to be a Muslim now, which means I'll be spending a lot of my time in mostly empty cafes watching soccer on an 8-inch black and white TV. Yes, the team I like is kicking it. Oh no, the team I don't like is kicking it. Yes, the team I like is kicking it again. I will celebrate with finger cymbals. Hey, is that for real, that diarrhea-only sign on your bathroom?
Okay, so, and not even 2 minutes, and pretty much every Orientalist stereotype you could think of. But of course, the one that's most important is the one where you have this kind of notion of the relationship between the Middle Eastern man and the Middle Eastern woman. This is a ad produced in Sweden. Now, it is, you don't really need to understand Swedish to understand it. What is it saying? Okay. And that's the whole point. Look what symbol do they use towards the end to kind of strike fear and generate votes.
Handlar om prioriteringar. Nu har du ett val. Den 19 september kan du välja invandringsbroms före pensionsbroms. Rösta på Sverigedemokraterna.
Okay, what is that ad saying? Our Swedish or true Swedish people our elderly are being denied their pension because all the money is going to these immigrants coming who are having a lot of babies. And what image is being shown to communicate who are the immigrants? The burqa-clad women. That is definitely Orientalist with a malign purpose. It's basically saying every immigrant who comes to Sweden is basically bringing in burqa-clad women and are taking away the money from our Swedish grandmothers. And I guess Swedish meatballs from them too, who knows. But this brings us to the end of our lecture on Orientalism, or how the West sees Middle Eastern women. And we'll be referring to this concept throughout the rest of the course. Thank you and apologies for the delay.